Evening, good evening. My name is Yolanda Mead, and I am coming to you to give you a demo of what TaxSlayer has to offer. And maybe you might be questioning when your clients do owe on their federal return, how can you set up the payment plan within the return that you're doing? So I'm going to pull up a dummy client that I'm going to key in, and you're just going to follow me as I'm keying it in. I'm going to put in false information because this is not a real client. My client here is going to be named John Doe. So you know for a fact it's not an actual person. But if you're using TaxSlayer and this might be helpful for you, please like and share this video and let's get started. So when you come into your software, it's going to jump in and ask you for basic information. So you're going to go to filing status. For this particular client, I'm going to say I am single. And then basic information here, what is the name, what is the last name, what is the social, what is the date of birth, and what is their occupation. And these are some additional questions you do want to ask if it applies to your client. So just make sure you ask all the questions you need to ask when doing a return or speaking with the client, virtual or in person. So you definitely want to make sure you gather the address of this client, the telephone number, and also their email address. And you can also send them a portal invitation so they can view the return once you're finished because they're going to need you to send them documents so they can sign. So I'm going to hit continue. This is just a dummy return I've started. You do have some state questions. If you're not sure, ask your client. It's always best to make sure you do your due diligence and ask your client these questions. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of this, we're gonna just key in some information. So now I got my personal information. I'm gonna take this out because we don't have a dependent because we are single. For this return, you can be single and have a dependent as well. You could be single and you could probably staying with someone and your kids staying with them. So just keep that in mind. But for the sake of this return, my client is single. They don't have no dependents at all. So you do want to make sure you go back. Now, if your client has a PIN number, make sure you get that PIN number for your client because if you try to file the return, it won't let you go through it. You could send it, but then it's going to reject it because it's pretty much going to say, hey, you're missing this PIN number and we need that PIN number before we can electronically file. And by chance, if your client don't know about this PIN, they can log into the IRS portal to get that PIN. And if they don't have it, you can simply print the return out and they can mail it to the IRS themselves. But we're going to hit continue. So now I'm just going to do the basic information. I'm going to delete this out. Give me 1 second. I'm going to delete that out. We don't have a business. And we're just going to do a standard W-2. And I'm going to get one from Google that I'm going to show you guys, the one I'm going to pull. And with this return, I'm actually going to make this client O so I could show you and walk you through the steps and how to set up that payment plan. So let me see, view image. Okay, so I'm going to just change my screen so you guys can see the W-2 that I pulled off of Google and going to use to put in. And it's so funny, their client name is John Doe. So you guys see the W-2. Now I'm gonna go back and put in, but keep in mind, this W-2, I'm gonna lower the federal withholding so you can see that if this client do owe, how to set up that payment plan. Okay. So now we're gonna go back to the software. Then once you're back in the software, you're just going to key in the information that you see on the W-2. Make sure you key everything that you see. So that's very important. Let me put this in prize. Address for work lane. And the zip code is 5. Okay, so make sure this is matching what it says there. Now we're going to get into wages. 27692. And I'm going to say on the W-2 here from Google, it said they took about 3,000. I'm only going to make it, I'm going to lower it because I want this client to owe. So you want to make sure all the numbers match. That somewhat match. And that match too. Do we have 12? We have retirement. 12A. We're going to go to D. 6, 5, 9, 24. And then we have the second one. 5, 3, 1, 4, 9, 9. All right. And now we're going to get into the state. On this return, it says US, but we already know in the software, you got to put a state. So I'm going to put a state because this client lives in PA. So we're going to put PA. And we're going to put that number, which is the state. Just going to bring that down. I'm going to bring this number to 1,000. That's it. And then I'm going to continue. The goal is to see if this client is going to owe. Okay, perfect. This client does owe. So as you can see right here to the right, AGI is 48. Federal return that they owe to the IRS is $2,249, and they owe the state of PA. So I'm gonna hit continue. None of these other forms, forms of income does not apply to this particular client. So I'm gonna hit continue. I don't have nothing else, no other taxes. If you want, play around with your software. If you have TaxSlayer, it's user friendly. If you want to set up vouchers for 2025 for estimated tax payments, you can. But with this particular return, we're pretty much done. Now, what you can do is on the top left here to set up that payment arrangement, this is where you go to. So you're going to type in form 4956. Why didn't it pop up? Give me 1 second. Oh, 9464. Sorry. Okay, now right here, you can do the form 9465 installment agreement request, and it's going to pop over and go over to this line here on that particular form. Here is going to let you know, please note that the IRS does not enforce fees to set up an installment agreement, and it gives you the website and it will take you to that publication. But what you want to do is you want to now gather some additional information from your client, because now on your inside the return, you're going to set up that particular agreement. So you want to definitely make sure you get the client's number. Ask them when is the best time to call. So you could say 12 p.m. You want to say what's the best time to call the work number if they have a second one. But if they don't, 12 p.m. And you also want to make sure you put Standard Eastern or Central or Pacific. Make sure the addresses match. And if you say, hey, that this client changed addresses, click here if this address is different from the last year tax return. If you do, then that lets the IRS know. And then it says the name of the business. Excuse me. Maybe you have some clients have a business, but they want to set up an agreement. You're going to need the name and the EIN number. So once we do that, here's the form. Payment details. It's going to tell me the amount that's owed. Now enter any additional balances due here on this line, and then also amount paid with e-filing. So the IRS requires payments between $25 up to $25K with forms. So you want to make sure you ask your client how much do they want to pay when they set up this agreement. So say your client want to do 200. Now you want to ask them, what is the monthly payment you want to pay this off? Keep in mind this blue hyperlink right here. It's not a hyperlink, but it's like a note. Make sure you read this to your client. Make sure they understand this. Minimum monthly payment is $28. Enter the amount you pay each month. Make your payment larger as possible to limit interest and penalty charges. So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna ask my client, hey, how much you want to pay monthly? $300, right? So monthly payment date. So now what day they want to make sure the payment comes out. So when you're looking at this, look at the calendar. Pick the day. So I'm gonna say the 15th. Then you want to ask them what bank, or check this box if the payment want to be sent in by mail. So make sure you gather that information. Now, if you have this second box here, it says if you're unable to make electronically payments through a debit installment by providing your bank information, check here and the user fee will be reimbursed upon completing your installment agreement. So I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit continue. So now it's gonna come for additional information, right? Now it's gonna ask your client, do they want to proceed with part 2 for additional information? You can say yes, you can say no. However, make sure when you're in your software, you read these blue boxes that pop up because they're very informative so you can help your client. So I'm gonna say yes. Then now it's going to ask me some additional questions. Primary residence, the country, married, single. This client is single, so I'm going to put single. Number of dependents claim on this tax return. Number of people in the household are 65 or older. How often are you paid? This client might get paid twice a week or, monthly, twice a month. I'm going to say this client gets paid every 2 weeks. What is the net income? My net income that they bring home, I'm going to say it's about 36, right? How often do your spouse pay? This doesn't have a spouse, so we're going to leave that part blank. Do you have health insurance? Yes. Are your health insurance premium deducted from your paycheck? Yes. Right? Okay. So now, do you make court order payments? I'm gonna say no or yes, but if you say yes, it's gonna ask you, are them payments deducted from your paycheck? So I'm gonna say no. Okay. Amount you pay for child support or child or dependent for each month. We don't have a child, so we're gonna leave it blank. Now, my agreement is set up. I'm gonna hit continue, and now I could slowly go through my return. I could go all the way through. Now, if by chance, when you're using your software in here, if you go to miss forms and you by chance miss this part here by typing in that form, it's right here, 9465, to set up the agreement here. Now, once I hit continue, it's going to go all the way through. It's going to ask me, do I have insurance? Do I have the Affordable Care Act? I'm going to say no. And then it's going to go right through my return. So you can see it within the return. I'm actually going to show you guys, okay? So I'm going to do a summary print so you can see it. Okay. All right, so now I'm in the forms. You're going to see some information here, the invoice, the different type of forms that we use, the W-2 we keyed in, the electronic form, e-form, the payment vouchers. Hey, John Doe said this is one of the vouchers. This is how much he owes. Make sure you give this stuff to your client. If by chance your client decides, hey, they want to mail it, this form gives them the addresses where they basically live right now to the proper mailing address they needs to go to. So then you get to the regular 1040 form, and then you're going to look at this type of forms here that's going to be provided for your client. Now, here you go, the installment agreement request. It has the information. It's telling me the best time when to contact this client, what's the number, what is their home address, what is their social. It also enter the amount, how much they owe, and they enter the amount of payment you make for the request. They're going to put in $200. So Line 10 is also going to divide the amount between line 9. That's how they got that 28. So 11A is pretty much how much they're going to be wanting to be taken out or how much they're going to be sending in each month. This client says $300. So then you have the additional forms here that you still have. And then they pretty much are good to go. And this is how you set up an installment agreement within the return. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My name is Yolanda Mead. I've been in business for 7 years doing taxes, helping tax pros scale their business, helping them with software, helping them mentor them and coaching at the same time. If you need to reach me, contact me. This will be up on YouTube and this will be on my page. Please reach out if you have any questions. We'll talk soon. See you in the next video.